Call sign, miss. Captain Bryce Holloway stands in the entrance of the radar maintenance bay, arms crossed, smile sharp enough to cut. Behind him, half a dozen Marines lean against tool carts and weapon racks, watching. The morning sun slices through the hangar doors at Okinawa Marine Corps Air Station, turning the oil-stained concrete into a stage. Holloway's voice carries across the space with the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. I'm waiting. Kara Wynne doesn't look up from the circuit board in her hands. Her fingers move with precision, stripping wire, twisting connections. The coveralls she wears are 2 sizes too big, sleeves rolled to her elbows. Her hair is pulled back in a tight bun, no makeup, no jewelry except for a thin cord around her neck that disappears beneath her collar. She sets the board down, wipes her hands on a rag, and finally meets Holloway's eyes. Not assigned, sir. Civilian contractor. The Marines behind Holloway exchange glances. One of them, a corporal with a sunburned neck, lets out a low whistle. Another mutters something that gets swallowed by laughter. Holloway takes 3 steps closer, boots echoing on concrete. His smile widens, but his eyes stay cold. Figures. No real soldier would hide behind civilian clothes. The words land like a slap. The hangar goes quiet except for the hum of ventilation fans and the distant whine of jet engines on the flight line. Kara's expression doesn't change. She picks up a wrench, tests its weight, sets it back down with deliberate care. Her hands are steady. When she breathes, it's measured. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out. The kind of rhythm that doesn't come from yoga classes or meditation apps. Holloway turns to his audience, playing to the crowd. You know what they say about people who can't hack it in uniform. They go civilian. Easier hours, no standards, no accountability. He pauses for effect. No honor. One of the Marines laughs too loud, trying to earn favor. Kara reaches for a multimeter, checks a voltage reading, logs it in a notebook that's seen better days. The pages are filled with neat handwriting. Numbers, timestamps, technical specifications. No doodles, no personal notes, just data. But there's something else. On the inside of her left wrist, barely visible beneath the grime and the edge of her sleeve, a small tattoo catches the light. 2 black wings, stylized, angular, the kind of ink that doesn't come from a boardwalk shop. Kara notices Holloway's gaze flicker down, then away. She pulls her sleeve lower without a word. Careful, princess, one of the Marines calls out. Don't drop a wrench, might hurt yourself. Kara closes her toolbox, snaps the latches. The sound is loud in the sudden silence. She stands, and there's something in the way she moves. Too controlled, too efficient. No wasted motion. The grip she uses to lift the 40-pound box is wrong for a civilian. Her fingers curl around the handle with the same placement you'd use on a rifle stock. Sergeant Leo Grant sees it from across the hangar. He's leaning against a supply cage, arms folded, watching through narrowed eyes. 50 years old, gray stubble, eyes that have seen too many deployments. He's supposed to be here reviewing security protocols, but he hasn't moved in 10 minutes. His gaze is locked on Kara's hands, then her posture, then the way she breathes. That's enough, Captain, Leo says quietly. His voice doesn't carry far, but Holloway hears it. So does Kara. Holloway waves him off without looking. Just making conversation, Sergeant, getting to know our new hire. He turns back to Kara, who's halfway to the door. Hey, I'm talking to you. She stops. Doesn't turn around. Sir, where'd you learn to work on AN/APG-81 systems? That's not civilian equipment. Training, Kara says. The word is flat, empty of inflection. What kind of training? The kind that qualifies me for the contract. Holloway's jaw tightens. He doesn't like being stonewalled, especially not in front of his Marines. You got a problem with authority, miss? He waits for a name. Kara doesn't give him one. He checks a clipboard on the wall. Wynne. Kara Wynne. That's a nice normal name. Nothing special about it. Kara walks out into the sun without responding. The door swings shut behind her, leaving Holloway standing in the middle of the hangar with his audience suddenly unsure whether to keep laughing. Leo pushes off from the supply cage and heads in the opposite direction, but not before he catches one more detail. The way Kara shifted her weight before lifting that toolbox. Hip turned, knees bent, center of gravity low. That's not contractor training. That's combat conditioning. If you think humiliation is where this story ends, hit that like button, because what happens next will leave you speechless. Don't forget to subscribe and support us with the thanks button. The barracks room is small, windowless, lit by a single fluorescent tube that flickers every few seconds. Kara sits on the edge of a cot that isn't hers, staring at the wall. Her hands rest on her knees, palms up. The left wrist carries that tattoo. The wings are sharper up close, almost blade-like. There are other marks, too. A thin scar runs from her forearm to the crook of her elbow. Shrapnel, maybe. Or something worse. She reaches under her collar and pulls out the cord. Hanging from it is a small metal cylinder, no bigger than a lipstick tube. She unscrews the cap. Inside, wrapped in plastic, is a slip of paper. The ink is faded but still legible. DV-04-X. Below it, a date. October 2018. Below that, a single word. Damascus. Kara stares at it for a long time. Then she rewraps it, screws the cap back on, tucks it away. Her breathing is still controlled. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. But her eyes are somewhere else, somewhere 6 years and 7,000 miles away. A knock at the door pulls her back. She stands, smooths her coveralls, opens the door. Leo is standing there with 2 cups of coffee from the DFAC. He holds one out. She takes it without a word. "You settling in okay?" Leo asks. "Fine. Holloway give you any more trouble?" "Nothing I can't handle." Leo nods, sips his coffee. He's not looking at her face. He's looking at her hands again, the way they hold the cup, fingers spread, thumb on the rim, ready to throw the contents if needed. It's a reflex, the kind you don't forget. "You prior service?" he asks. Kara's expression doesn't change. "Contractor, like the file says." "Right. Contractor." Leo sets his cup on the floor, leans against the door frame. "I was a SEAL. Did 22 years before they stuck me behind a desk. You get good at reading people in that job." Body language, tells, he pauses. "You've got a lot of tells, Win." "Do I?" "Yeah. The way you clear a doorway, the way you check sight lines, the way you breathe when someone gets in your face." He taps his own wrist. "The ink." Kara pulls her sleeve down. "It's just a tattoo." "Maybe. Or maybe it's something else." Leo picks up his coffee, takes another sip. "You don't have to tell me anything. But if Holloway keeps pushing, you might want to let someone know. He's connected. Family in the Pentagon. Makes him think he's untouchable." "Noted." Leo studies her for another moment, then nods. "You need anything? I'm in Building 6. Security office." He turns to leave, then stops. "One more thing. That breathing technique you're using, 4-4-4, that's not something they teach contractors." Kara closes the door before he can say anything else. The afternoon sun turns the obstacle course into a furnace. Heat shimmers off the sand, off the wooden barriers, off the metal frames of the rope climb. Kara stands at the starting line with 20 other people, contractors, junior enlisted, a handful of officers. This is supposed to be voluntary, a team-building exercise, according to the flyer. But when Holloway showed up at the maintenance bay 2 hours ago and told Kara she was participating, the word voluntary didn't come up. "Listen up," Holloway shouts from the shade of a covered observation platform. He's got a clipboard, a stopwatch, and a grin that says he's enjoying this. "This course is designed to test physical fitness and mental resilience. Standards are the same for everyone. No excuses, no shortcuts." His eyes find Kara in the lineup. "No special treatment." The course is 2 miles of hell, low crawl under barbed wire, tire run, wall climb, rope traverse, sandbag carry, and a final sprint to the finish. The Marines around Kara are stretching, joking, hydrating. She does none of those things. She just stands there, hands loose at her sides, eyes on the first obstacle. "On my mark," Holloway says. He raises his hand. 3, 2, 1, go. The group surges forward. Kara doesn't sprint. She moves at a steady pace, conserving energy. The low crawl comes first. Barbed wire strung 18 inches off the ground, 100 feet of sand and gravel. Most people rush it, scraping elbows and knees. Kara drops flat, uses her forearms and toes to propel herself forward in a rhythm that eats distance without burning fuel. Her form is perfect. Hips low, head down, no wasted movement. Holloway notices. So does Leo, who's standing near the platform with a water bottle and a frown. The way Kara moves isn't self-taught. It's trained, drilled, repeated under pressure until it becomes instinct. She clears the crawl in under 2 minutes, third in the group. The tire run is next. 50 tires laid out in a staggered pattern, knee-high. You have to step in each one without missing. Miss once, you start over. Kara flows through them like water, her center of gravity never shifting, her pace never breaking. The wall climb is 10 feet of plywood with a rope. She doesn't use the rope. She jumps, catches the top edge with both hands, pulls herself up in one smooth motion. Her shoulder flexes. There's muscle there, lean and functional. By the rope traverse, half the group is struggling. It's 40 feet of 1-inch rope strung between 2 posts, 20 feet off the ground. You go hand over hand, legs wrapped around the rope. It's grip strength, core strength, mental strength. Kara reaches up, locks her legs, starts moving. Her hands are steady despite the heat, despite the sweat. She's halfway across when Holloway calls out, "Win, you sure you didn't do this before?" She doesn't answer, doesn't look down, just keeps moving hand over hand until she drops onto the platform at the far end. The sandbag carry is a last before the sprint, a 60-pound bag across a 100-yard course. Most people carry it on their shoulder. Kara lifts it to chest height, cradles it with both arms, and starts running. Her legs are shaking by the halfway point, her breath coming harder, but she doesn't slow down. She crosses the finish line in 12 minutes flat, not the fastest time, but well above average. She drops the sandbag, straightens, puts her hands on her hips and breathes. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. The shaking stops. Holloway walks over, stopwatch in hand. "Not bad, Win, for a contractor." He leans in, voice low enough that only she can hear. "But we both know you're not a contractor, so why don't you tell me what you really are?" Kara meets his eyes. "I'm exactly what the file says I am, sir." "Right." Holloway straightens, raises his voice for the group. "Anyone who can't keep up with the standards doesn't belong here. That includes civilians." He taps his clipboard. "Win, you've got a follow-up eval tomorrow. 0600. Be ready." She doesn't respond, just walks to the water station, drinks half a bottle, pours the rest over her head. When she lowers the bottle, Leo is standing 5 feet away. "That was impressive," he says. "It's just a course." "No, it's a Marine Corps standard, and you just beat half the active duty personnel here." Leo crosses his arms. "You want to tell me where you learned to move like that?" Kara wipes water from her face. "I work out." "You do more than work out." Leo steps closer, voice dropping. "I've been doing this a long time, Win. I know the difference between fit and trained. You're trained, and not by some CrossFit gym either." She turns to leave. Leo catches her arm. Not hard, just enough to stop her. She looks down at his hand, then up at his face. Her expression is unreadable, but there's something in her eyes. A warning, maybe, or a memory. "Don't push me, Sergeant," she says quietly. Leo lets go. "I'm not your enemy, but Holloway is, and he's not going to let this go. Then he'll be disappointed." She walks away, leaving Leo standing in the sun with more questions than answers. That night, after the barracks go dark, he sits in his office with a laptop and a clearance code that technically expired 3 years ago. But old SEAL networks run deep and favors have long memories. He types a name into the database, Kara Win. The first result is standard. Contractor profile, background check, employment history, everything checks out. But Leo knows how to dig deeper. He searches for older records, classified rosters, operational archives. Most of it's redacted or deleted, but there are breadcrumbs, fragments, and then, buried in a cache of files marked Operation Black Sun, he finds it. A mission brief from October 2018, location, Damascus, Syria. Objective, neutralize bioweapon facility, extract intelligence, minimize casualties. Team roster, 6 names, all redacted except for one designation, DV-04. The file lists it as KIA, killed in action, but there's a photo attached, scanned from an old ID badge. The face is younger, harder, but unmistakable. Lieutenant Kara Win, United States Army, Special Operations, Task Force Valkyrie. Leo leans back in his chair, staring at the screen. Task Force Valkyrie isn't supposed to exist. It's the kind of unit that operates in the gaps, off the books, outside official oversight. If the mission goes sideways, there's no rescue, no acknowledgement. You're erased. And according to this file, Kara Win died 6 years ago. He closes the laptop, scrubs his hands over his face. "Holy cow," he mutters. The next morning comes too soon. Kara reports to the motor pool at 0545, 15 minutes early. Holloway is already there, along with a dozen Marines and a master sergeant she doesn't recognize. The setup is different today. No obstacle course, no physical eval. Instead, there's a table covered with equipment. Radios, GPS units, signal jammers, encryption devices, technical gear. "Morning, Win," Holloway says. He's smiling again, but it's the wrong kind of smile. "Today we're testing technical proficiency. Since you're a contractor working on sensitive systems, I want to make sure you know what you're doing." He gestures to the table. "Show us." Kara steps forward, scans the equipment. It's a mix of current and legacy systems, some of it civilian grade, some military. She picks up a radio, checks the frequency, cycles through the channels. Then she grabs a jammer, powers it on, watches the interference pattern. Her hands move fast, efficient, like she's done this 1,000 times. "Frequency hopping spread spectrum," she says. N/PRC-152, encrypted burst transmission, jammer set to the wrong band, needs to shift 200 megahertz higher. Holloway blinks. "How do you know that?" "Because it's in the manual." Kara sets the jammer down, picks up a GPS unit. "This one's been tampered with. Someone pulled the encryption module. Without it, the position data is vulnerable to spoofing." The master sergeant steps forward, frowning. "She's right. Who pulled that module?" No one answers. Holloway's smile fades. "Lucky guess." "Not luck," Kara says. She moves down the table, identifying issues with 3 more pieces of equipment: missing components, incorrect configurations, outdated firmware. Every observation is precise, technical, impossible to fake. By the time she's done, the Marines are exchanging looks. Holloway's jaw is tight. "Where'd you learn this?" he demands. "Training." "What training?" "The kind that's in my contract." Holloway slams his hand on the table. "I don't believe you. Nobody picks this up from a manual. You're hiding something." Kara doesn't flinch. "If you have concerns about my qualifications, sir, you can take it up with my supervisor." "Maybe I will." Holloway steps around the table, getting in her space. "Or maybe I'll just have you removed from the base entirely. Security risk, falsified credentials. Whatever it takes." "Captain," Leo's voice cuts through the tension. He's standing at the edge of the motor pool, arms crossed. "That's enough." Holloway turns, irritation flashing across his face. "This doesn't concern you, Sergeant." "Actually, it does. I'm the security advisor for this installation. And if you're going to accuse a contractor of falsifying credentials, you need evidence. Do you have evidence?" Holloway opens his mouth, closes it. "She knows too much. Or she's just good at her job, which is what we pay her for." Leo walks closer, his tone measured but firm. "Stand down, Captain." For a moment, it looks like Holloway might push back, but then he steps away, straightening his uniform. "This isn't over, Win. I'm watching you." He leaves, taking his Marines with him. The motor pool empties out, leaving just Kara and Leo. She starts putting the equipment back in order, methodical and silent. Leo waits until she's done. "You need to be careful," he says. "I'm fine." "No, you're not. Holloway's got connections. If he decides to dig into your background, there's nothing to find." Leo gives her a long look. "Kara, I know about Damascus." She freezes. Just for a second, but it's enough. Then she picks up the last radio, sets it on the table, turns to face him. "You don't know anything. I know you were declared KIA in 2018. I know Task Force Valkyrie was wiped from official records, and I know you're still alive, which means either the records are wrong or someone wanted you dead on paper." He pauses. "I also know you saved 41 people that day, including me." Kara's expression shifts, just a flicker of recognition, quickly buried. "You weren't in Damascus." "No, but I was in Raqqa 3 months later. Same kind of op, same playbook. And when things went sideways, we got pulled out by a team that wasn't supposed to exist. Valkyries." Leo's voice softens. "I never knew who you were, but I knew what you did." Silence stretches between them. Somewhere on the base, a jet engine roars to life. Kara looks down at her hands, at the small tattoo on her wrist. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Holloway's not going to stop. And when he digs deep enough, he's going to find something. Maybe not the truth, but enough to cause problems." Leo shifts his weight. "If you need help, I don't. Fine. But if that changes, you know where to find me." He walks away, leaving Kara alone in the motor pool with the sun climbing and the heat building and a weight on her chest that has nothing to do with the humidity. That evening, there's a briefing. Standard operational update, nothing urgent. Kara attends because she's required to. Her contract covers communication systems, and she needs to know about planned exercises and frequency allocations. The briefing room is half full, mostly officers and senior enlisted. Kara sits in the back, notebook open, pen ready. Holloway is at the front, running through a PowerPoint. He's talking about an upcoming joint exercise with Japanese self-defense forces when he pauses, clicks to a new slide. It's a satellite image, grainy but clear enough to show a cluster of buildings and antenna arrays. "We've been monitoring unusual signals in this sector," Holloway says. "Could be atmospheric interference, could be equipment malfunction, could be something else." He looks directly at Kara. "Wynn, you're the technical expert. What do you think?" She stands, walks to the front, studies the image. The antenna configuration is wrong. Too many dishes pointed at odd angles, frequency spacing too tight. She's seen this before. Not here, but somewhere else. Somewhere that ended badly. "That's not interference," she says. "That's a coordinated jamming pattern. Multiple sources, synchronized. Someone's trying to black out communications in that sector." The room goes quiet. An officer near the front leans forward. "Are you sure?" "Positive. If this is real time, you need to report it up the chain. Now." Holloway's smile returns, but it's strained. "Relax, Wynn. It's probably just a glitch. I'll flag it for review." He clicks to the next slide. Moving on. Kara doesn't sit down. "Captain, if that's an active jamming array—" "I said I'll handle it." Holloway's voice sharpens. "You're here to advise, not give orders. Sit down." She holds his gaze for a moment, then walks back to her seat. But something's shifted. The officers are murmuring, looking at the image again. Leo, sitting 2 rows ahead, glances back at her. His expression says he believes her. The briefing ends 20 minutes later. Kara leaves the building, heads toward the barracks, but she doesn't make it far. Her phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. "Motor pool, midnight, come alone." She deletes the message, keeps walking. But when midnight rolls around, she's standing in the shadows near the motor pool, watching. A figure approaches from the opposite direction, Leo moving carefully, checking his surroundings. "You got the message," he says quietly. "Who sent it?" "I did. We need to talk." Leo pulls out a tablet, shows her a screen filled with data streams. "I've been monitoring the sector Holloway showed in the briefing. You were right. It's a jamming array, but it's not external." Kara's blood goes cold. "What do you mean?" "I mean the signals are originating from inside the base perimeter. Someone's running a black market comm network, probably selling intel to foreign buyers." Leo swipes to another screen. "And I think Holloway knows about it. Maybe he's even involved." "That's a serious accusation." "I know, but look at this." He shows her a log of access times. Someone with command-level clearance has been accessing restricted comm protocols at odd hours, always at night, always when Holloway's on duty. Kara studies the data. The pattern is there, clear as daylight. If this gets out, it won't. Not unless we have proof. Real, undeniable proof. Leo locks the tablet. "I'm bringing this to you because I need someone I can trust, and because I think Holloway's going to try to pin this on you if things go south." "Why me?" "Because you're the outsider, the civilian, the one with skills that don't add up." Leo's voice drops. "He's setting you up, Kara, and when the investigation comes, you're going to be the scapegoat." She looks away, toward the darkened buildings, the distant flight line. "What do you want me to do?" "Help me gather evidence, real evidence, enough to take to the Inspector General without it getting buried." He pauses. "I know you've got experience with this kind of thing, black ops, intelligence work, whatever you did in Damascus." "I didn't do anything in Damascus. I died there. Remember?" Leo nods slowly. "Right, you died. But the person standing in front of me is very much alive, and she's the only one who can help me stop this before someone else gets hurt." Kara closes her eyes, breathes. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. When she opens them again, her decision is made. What's the plan? Will she make it out? Drop your prediction in the comments and stay till the end, because the truth is darker than you think. The plan is simple. Get into Holloway's office, access his computer, pull the comm logs. Dangerous, yes. Illegal, probably. But if Leo's right, they don't have a choice. The meeting breaks up and Kara heads back to her quarters. Sleep doesn't come easy. The next day starts normal. Kara reports to the maintenance bay, works on a radar calibration, logs her hours. But around 1400 hours, alarms start blaring across the base. Not a drill, real alarms. Smoke rises from the southern perimeter, thick and black. Explosions echo in the distance. Someone hit the fuel depot. Kara drops her tools, runs toward the sound. Marines are already mobilizing, fire teams forming, vehicles rolling out. She reaches the perimeter fence and sees it, the fuel storage facility, 3 massive tanks engulfed in flames. Secondary explosions ripple through the air, shaking the ground. People are screaming, running, trying to evacuate. And then she sees them. 2 Marines, trapped inside the security checkpoint near the depot. The building's partially collapsed, flames licking at the walls. No one's going in. Too dangerous, too hot, too unstable. Kara doesn't think. She vaults the fence, sprints toward the checkpoint. Someone yells at her to stop, but she's already inside the smoke. The heat is crushing, the air thick with toxic fumes. She drops low, uses her sleeve to filter the air, moves by feel and memory. The 2 Marines are huddled in a corner, one unconscious, the other coughing blood. Kara grabs the conscious one, hauls him to his feet. "Can you walk?" "My leg." "Then hop. Now." She drapes his arm over her shoulder, starts dragging him toward the exit. The unconscious Marine is heavier. Kara lifts him in a fireman's carry, grunting with the effort. 200 pounds of dead weight. Her shoulder screams in protest, but she doesn't stop. The ceiling groans. A beam cracks, starts to fall. Kara sidesteps, loses her balance, nearly drops the Marine. She recovers, keeps moving. 10 feet to the door, 5 feet, 3, and then the floor gives out. She falls, twisting midair to protect the Marine on her back. They hit concrete, and pain explodes through her side. Broken rib, maybe 2. The conscious Marine lands nearby, screaming. Kara tries to stand, but her leg buckles. She's pinned under debris, twisted metal, shattered glass, pieces of the building collapsing inward. Through the smoke, she sees figures approaching. Firefighters, medics. Holloway, standing at a safe distance, barking orders. And Leo, running straight into the inferno without hesitation. He reaches her, starts pulling debris away. "Hold on, I've got you." "Get them out first," Kara rasps. "You're all getting out." Leo lifts the beam pinning her leg, and she rolls free. He grabs the unconscious Marine, starts dragging. Another firefighter takes the conscious one. Kara crawls, then stands, limping on a leg that might be sprained or worse. She makes it outside just as the building collapses completely, a roar of fire and twisted steel. Medics swarm her. She waves them off. "I'm fine. Check the Marines." "Ma'am, you need medical attention." "I said check the Marines." Leo appears at her side, soot-covered, breathing hard. "You're insane, you know that?" Kara leans against a vehicle, closes her eyes. "They were trapped." "Yeah, and you could have died pulling them out." "But I didn't." Holloway storms over, face red with anger or heat or both. "When? What the hell were you thinking? You're a civilian. You have no authority to enter an active disaster zone." Kara opens her eyes, looks at him. 2 Marines were dying. "I got them out." "You violated protocol. You could have compromised the entire rescue operation." Holloway's fists clench. "I should have you arrested for obstruction." "For saving lives?" Leo steps between them. "Back off, Captain. She did what any of us would have done." "She's not one of us," Holloway snaps. "And I'm starting to think she's the reason this happened in the first place." The accusation hangs in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Kara straightens, despite the pain. "What did you say?" "You heard me. You show up, things start going wrong. Equipment malfunctions, security breaches, and now this." Holloway points at the burning depot. "I warned about unusual signals. You said it was jamming. What if you're the one running it?" "That's insane," Leo says. "Is it?" "She knows too much. She moves like military but claims she's civilian. She's got skills that don't match her file." Holloway steps closer to Kara. "Who the hell are you really?" Before she can answer, a colonel appears, Raymond Hayes, the base commander. Older, gray-haired, eyes like flint. He surveys the scene, the wreckage, the medics treating wounded Marines. Then he looks at Kara. "You the contractor who pulled those men out?" "Yes, sir." Hayes nods. "Good work. Medic, get her checked out." He turns to Holloway. "Captain, my office. Now." Holloway opens his mouth to protest, then shuts it. He follows Hayes, throwing one last glare at Kara. Leo waits until they're out of earshot. "This is bad," he says quietly. "I know." Holloway's going to use this to go after you. He'll twist it, make it look like you're involved. Leo runs a hand through his hair. We need to move fast. Get that evidence tonight. Kara looks at the burning depot, the smoke rising into the sky. Her side throbs, her leg aches, her lungs burn. But she nods. Tonight. As the sun sets and the fires are brought under control, Kara sits in a medical tent, refusing treatment beyond basic first aid. A medic wraps her ribs, tells her to take it easy. She doesn't respond. Her mind is elsewhere, running through scenarios, calculating risks. Leo finds her an hour later. It's time. They move through the base under cover of darkness. Most personnel are still dealing with the aftermath of the explosion. Damage assessment, casualty reports, perimeter security. Holloway's office is in the administration building, 3rd floor. Leo's got a key card that shouldn't work but does. Old connections die hard. Inside, the office is neat, organized. Desk, computer, file cabinets. Leo boots up the computer while Kara checks the cabinets. Most are locked, but one isn't. Inside, she finds folders, comm logs, access records, encrypted drive manifests, and buried at the back, a single USB drive labeled Contingency. Leo, look at this. He takes the drive, plugs it into the computer. The files are encrypted, but Leo's got tools. Military-grade decryption software, the kind that isn't legal but isn't exactly illegal either. The files start to unpack. Transaction records, bank transfers, communications with foreign contacts, and a list of classified intel sold over the past 6 months. Holy cow, Leo whispers. He's not just running a side hustle. He's full-on espionage. Kara leans over his shoulder reading. This goes back months, maybe longer. And look at this. Leo opens another file. It's a memo, dated 2 days ago. Subject, Operation Cleanup. Body, neutralize loose ends. Ensure no trace. The name at the bottom of the recipient list, Kara Wynn. She goes cold. He was planning to kill me. Or set you up to take the fall. Either way. Leo stops. Footsteps in the hallway. Multiple people. Voices. Someone's coming. They grab the USB drive, shut down the computer. Leo pockets the drive and they slip out through a side door just as the main door opens. Holloway's voice echoes down the hall talking to someone. They don't wait to find out who. They make it back to Leo's office, lock the door, sit in the dark catching their breath. Leo holds up the drive. This is enough. We can take this to Hayes, to the IG, to whoever will listen. Kara shakes her head. Not yet. If we go public now, Holloway will disappear the evidence, claim it's fabricated, use his family connections to bury it. So what do we do? We wait, let him think he's winning, and when he makes his next move, Kara's eyes are hard, determined. We take him down. The screen fades to black, but the tension lingers, thick and unresolved. Somewhere in the darkness of Okinawa, a storm is building, and when it breaks, nothing will be the same. The next 72 hours pass in a blur of tension and waiting. Kara returns to her work in the maintenance bay, running diagnostics, logging data, acting like nothing's changed. But everything has changed. The USB drive is locked in Leo's safe, encrypted copies sent to 3 separate secure locations. Insurance, Leo calls it. Kara calls it survival. Holloway doesn't come around the hangar. That's the first sign something's wrong. He's usually everywhere, micromanaging, posturing, making sure everyone knows he's in charge. But now he's invisible, holed up in meetings with people whose names don't appear on base rosters. Kara watches from a distance, noting patterns. Who comes and goes, which vehicles they use, the way they move like they're carrying secrets too heavy to share. On the 3rd day, Colonel Hayes issues a base-wide notice, mandatory briefing, all personnel 1,400 hours. No exceptions. Kara shows up early, takes her usual spot in the back row. The room fills quickly. Marines, officers, contractors, support staff. Leo enters last, catches her eye, gives a subtle nod. The pieces are moving. Hayes steps to the podium, face grim. 3 days ago, this base suffered a catastrophic attack on our fuel depot. 2 Marines were critically injured, millions of dollars in damage, and we still don't know who's responsible. He pauses, letting the weight settle. But we're going to find out. The room is silent. Hayes continues. We've been conducting an internal investigation. reviewing access logs, communications, personnel records, and we've uncovered evidence of unauthorized activity. His eyes scan the crowd. Captain Holloway front and center. Holloway stands from the third row, face carefully neutral. He walks to the front with the kind of confidence that comes from believing you're untouchable. Sir? Captain, we have reason to believe there's been a security breach involving classified communications. I need you to explain these transactions. Hayes nods to an aide who projects a series of images on the screen. Bank transfers, encrypted messages, timestamps that match the jamming patterns Kara identified. Holloway's expression doesn't change, but his hands clench at his sides. I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Those could be from anyone. They're from your personal accounts, linked to offshore entities, traced back through 3 layers of shell companies. Hayes's voice hardens. You want to try again? The room erupts in murmurs. Holloway's jaw tightens. This is a setup. Someone's trying to frame me. Who? Holloway turns, points directly at Kara. Her, the contractor. She's been acting suspicious since day one. Too many skills, too much knowledge. I warned you she was a security risk. All eyes turn to Kara. She doesn't move, doesn't react, just sits there, breathing. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. Hayes looks at her. Miss Wynne, do you have a response? She stands slowly, every movement controlled. I've done my job, sir. Nothing more. That's not true, Holloway snaps. You've been accessing restricted areas, interfering with operations, even entering an active disaster zone without authorization. He's building momentum now, playing to the crowd. For all we know, she caused the explosion. She knew about the jamming signals. She was the first one on scene. Because I was trying to save lives, Kara says quietly. Or covering your tracks. Holloway takes a step toward her. I think you're a foreign agent. I think you infiltrated this base, gained access to our systems, and sold intelligence to hostile actors. And when things got hot, you staged a rescue to look like a hero. The accusation lands like a punch. Marines shift in their seats, exchanging looks. Even Hayes seems uncertain. Kara feels the room turning against her, the weight of suspicion pressing down. This is the moment Holloway's been building toward. Total discreditation, no way to fight back without revealing who she really is. And that's exactly what Leo's been waiting for. Captain Holloway, Leo says, standing from his seat near the front. His voice cuts through the tension like a blade. You want to know who Kara Wynne really is? Holloway spins. Sergeant, this doesn't concern you. Actually, it does, because I've seen her file, the real one. Leo walks to the front, pulls a folder from under his arm. It's thick, weathered, stamped with classifications that make people nervous. He drops it on the podium with a heavy thud. You want her ID, Captain? There it is. Hayes opens the folder. His face goes pale. He looks up at Kara, then at Leo, then back at the file. Where did you get this? Old channels. Classified archives. Took some digging, but it's all there. Leo turns to face the room. Her name is Lieutenant Kara Wynne, former United States Army Special Operations. Task Force Valkyrie. The room explodes. Voices rise, questions overlap, disbelief and shock mixing into chaos. Holloway's face drains of color. That's impossible. Valkyrie doesn't exist. It did. For 3 years. Black operations, off-the-books missions, the kind of work that doesn't make it into history books. Leo flips open the file to a specific page. Operation Black Sun, Damascus, Syria. October 2018. Mission objective: neutralize bioweapon facility, extract intelligence, eliminate hostile command structure. He looks directly at Holloway. The team leader was Lieutenant Wynne, code name Dark Valkyrie. Kara closes her eyes. The name echoes in her head, pulling her back to sand and smoke and screaming. She doesn't want to be here, doesn't want this. But there's no other way. Hayes reads from the file, voice shaking slightly. 41 personnel extracted, bioweapon lab destroyed, 0 friendly casualties, mission success. He looks up. The file says she was declared KIA. She was, Leo confirms. Officially, Lieutenant Wynne died in that operation. The unit was dissolved, records sealed, survivors scattered. Standard procedure for black ops that go public. He pauses. But she didn't die. She went dark. Deep cover. And she's been operating in the shadows ever since. Holloway laughs, but it's hollow. This is ridiculous. You expect me to believe? I don't care what you believe. Kara's voice stops him cold. She walks down the aisle, every eye on her. When she reaches the front, she doesn't hesitate. She pulls something from her pocket, a small black object, metal, shaped like wings. She places it on the podium next to the file. The sound it makes, sharp, final, echoes in the silence. It's a trident, not the Navy SEAL kind. This one is different, smaller, sharper, etched with symbols that don't match any official insignia. The wings curve inward, forming a shape that's both protective and predatory. At the base, a serial number, VK04X. Hayes stares at it. What is this? Proof, Kara says simply. That's the emblem of Task Force Valkyrie. Only 6 were ever made. 1 for each operator. She taps the serial number. That's mine. Leo pulls out another item, a photograph, old and creased. It shows 6 figures in tactical gear, faces obscured, standing in front of a building that's half collapsed. One of them is holding the trident. The patch on their shoulder matches the wings. This was taken in Damascus, 48 hours before the mission. Hayes compares the photo to the trident. The match is undeniable. He looks at Kara with new eyes, not suspicion, but something closer to awe. You led that operation. I did. And you've been here, working as a contractor for 3 months. Why? Kara glances at Holloway, who's standing frozen, mouth open. Because someone needed to be stopped, and I was the only one who could do it without drawing attention. Stopped? Hayes frowns. What are you talking about? Leo steps in. Sir, Captain Holloway has been running an illegal intelligence operation, selling classified information to foreign buyers, using base infrastructure to facilitate transfers. He hands over the USB drive. This contains transaction records, communication logs, and a list of intel sold over the past 6 months, including details of Operation Black Sun. The room goes dead silent. Hayes takes the drive, hands it to an aide. Verify this. Now. The aide plugs it into a laptop, starts pulling files. 30 seconds pass, then a minute. Finally, the aide looks up. Sir, it's all here. Bank accounts, offshore transfers, encrypted comms, and there's a memo dated last week. Subject, Operation Cleanup, orders to neutralize loose ends. The aide's voice drops. Miss Wynn is listed as a target. Hayes turns to Holloway, and for the first time, there's fury in his eyes. Captain, you are hereby relieved of duty pending a full investigation. Security, detain him. 2 MPs step forward. Holloway stumbles back, hands raised. This is insane. You can't believe... I believe the evidence, Hayes says coldly, and I believe the woman who saved 2 of my Marines while you were covering your own tracks. He nods to the MPs. Get him out of my sight. They take Holloway by the arms, start to lead him away. He twists, looking back at Kara with something like desperation. You set me up. You wanted this. Kara meets his eyes, unflinching. No, I gave you every chance to stop. You chose this. Holloway's dragged out, still protesting. The door slams shut behind him. The room stays silent for a long moment. Then Hayes turns to Kara. He stands straight, hand rising in a salute. Lieutenant, the gesture ripples through the room. Officers stand, salute. Marines follow, one by one until the entire briefing room is on its feet, honoring a woman they thought was nobody. Kara doesn't salute back. She just nods once, an acknowledgement that carries more weight than words. Hayes lowers his hand. I think we all owe you an apology. No apology necessary, sir. I was doing my job. Your job ended in 2018. You didn't have to come back. Kara's expression shifts, just slightly. Yes, I did. The room begins to empty, people filing out in stunned silence. Leo stays behind, along with Hayes. The 3 of them stand around the podium, the trident still sitting there like a silent witness. I need to know why, Hayes says. Why hide? Why work as a contractor? You could have come in officially, used your credentials. Kara picks up the trident, turns it over in her hands. Task Force Valkyrie was erased for a reason, sir. The mission in Damascus, it worked. We stopped a bioweapon from reaching Europe. But the people who built that lab had friends, powerful friends, in governments, in militaries, in places we couldn't touch. She looks up. 6 operators went into Damascus. Only 3 of us walked out, and within a year, 2 of them were dead. Accidents, they said. But I knew better. You went dark to protect yourself, Leo says, and to protect the mission. If I stayed visible, they'd keep coming. So I disappeared, changed my name, my history, everything. Became a ghost. Kara sets the trident down. When I heard about the security breach here, I knew it was connected. Someone was selling intel on old operations, classified missions that should have stayed buried. I had to stop it. Hayes absorbs this. And Holloway? He was the middleman, not smart enough to run the whole operation, but useful. I needed him to lead me to the real players. Kara's voice hardens. That's why I stayed quiet. Let him think I was weak. Let him push until he got sloppy. You used yourself as bait, Hayes says. It's what I was trained to do. The colonel nods slowly. And now? What happens now? Kara glances at Leo, then back at Hayes. Now I finish what I started. Before Hayes can respond, an aide rushes in holding a tablet. Sir, we've got a situation. Intelligence just flagged unusual activity in our deployment zone, Syria. Multiple hostile movements near one of our forward operating bases. Hayes takes the tablet, scans the data. His face darkens. This is bad. We've got personnel in that sector. How many? Kara asks. 12. Advisors working with local forces. Hayes looks up. If this escalates, they're sitting ducks. Kara feels something cold settle in her chest. Syria. Of course it's Syria. The past never stays buried. What's the timeline? Unknown. Could be hours, could be days. We're trying to get eyes on the ground, but comms are spotty. It's the jamming, Kara says. Same pattern as here. Whoever Holloway was working with, they're making their move. Leo steps forward. Then we need to respond. Fast. Hayes shakes his head. We're already stretched thin. It'll take 48 hours to mobilize a proper response team. By then it'll be too late. Kara looks at the map on the tablet, recognizing landmarks, roads she's driven, buildings she's cleared. I know that sector. I operated there during Black Sun. You're a civilian contractor, Hayes says carefully. I can't authorize you for active duty. You don't have to authorize me. Just get me there. Kara's eyes are steel. I'll do the rest. Hayes and Leo exchange a look. Finally, Hayes nods. All right, but you're not going alone. Sergeant Grant, you're with her. Yes, sir. And Captain Holloway. Hayes's mouth twists. He's still under investigation, but he knows the terrain. He was involved in the planning. If anyone can navigate that sector, it's him. Kara goes still. You want me to work with Holloway? I want you to succeed. And right now, he's an asset. Hayes crosses his arms. Besides, if he's really involved with the people behind this, having him along might give us leverage. It's not a request. Kara knows that. She also knows Hayes is right. Holloway's connections could be useful, even if the thought of trusting him makes her stomach turn. Understood. Good. You leave at 0600. Transport's waiting. Hayes extends a hand. And Lieutenant, bring our people home. Kara shakes it. That's the plan. The flight to Syria takes 14 hours. Kara sits in the back of a C-130, surrounded by cargo crates and gear. Leo's across from her, checking weapons, running scenarios. Holloway's near the front, hands zip-tied, 2 MPs flanking him. He's been silent since takeoff, staring at nothing. Halfway through the flight, Kara walks up to him. The MPs tense, but she waves them off. She sits down across from Holloway, who looks up with dull eyes. Come to gloat? He asks. No. Then what? Kara leans forward, elbows on her knees. I need to know who you were working with. Names, contacts, locations. Holloway laughs bitterly. You think I'm going to help you? I think you're going to help yourself. Because if the people you sold out find out you've been compromised, they're not going to be forgiving. She pauses. Your only chance is to cooperate. Give us what we need, and maybe you walk away from this. Walk away? Holloway's face twists. My career's over. My family, they'll disown me. I'm done. Then at least go out doing the right thing. He studies her for a long moment. You really believe that? That there's a right thing? I have to. Holloway looks away. There's a guy, goes by Tower 4. I never met him face to face. Everything was digital, encrypted. But he's the one running the operation. Buying intel, coordinating attacks, moving assets. Where is he? I don't know. But the last message I got from him was 2 days ago. He said Phase 2 was starting. Whatever's happening in Syria, it's him. Kara stands. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just make sure those Marines get home. She walks back to her seat. Leo looks up. Get anything useful? Maybe. We'll see. Kara checks her gear. Knife, sidearm, tactical vest, standard loadout, nothing fancy. But it's enough. You ready for this? Are you? Kara closes her eyes, breathes. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. When she opens them again, she's somewhere else. Someone else. The contractor's mask is gone. What's left is the operator. Yeah, I'm ready. They land at a forward airstrip just after dawn. The heat is immediate, oppressive. Sand and dust swirl in the rotor wash as they disembark. A convoy of 3 vehicles waits. Armored trucks, machine guns mounted. The team is small. Leo, Kara, Holloway, and 6 Marines handpicked by Hayes. They load up, roll out. The drive takes 2 hours through hostile territory. Kara sits in the second vehicle, watching the landscape roll past. She knows this place. Every rock, every turn, every potential ambush point. Memories surface. Missions run years ago. Firefights survived. Friends lost. She pushes them down, focuses on the present. They're 5 miles from the forward operating base when the radio crackles. All units be advised, contact reported at FOB Sierra. Hostile forces engaged, requesting immediate support. The convoy speeds up. Kara grabs the radio. This is Valkyrie, what's your status? Static. Then a voice, strained and breathless. We're pinned down. Estimate 20 hostiles, maybe more. They've got the high ground. We can't hold. How many casualties? 3 wounded, 1 critical. We need medevac now. Kara looks at Leo. He nods. She keys the radio again. Hold position. We're inbound. ETA 10 minutes. They don't have 10 minutes. The ambush hits 4 minutes later. RPG fire from the ridgeline, followed by automatic weapons. The lead vehicle swerves, takes a hit to the engine, grinds to a halt. Marines bail out, returning fire. Kara's truck stops, and she's out before it fully halts, moving to cover behind a boulder. Contact right, someone yells. Kara scans the ridge. She counts 8 muzzle flashes, maybe 10. The terrain is bad. Open ground, no cover except rocks and scrub. The Marines are good, trained, disciplined, but they're outnumbered and outpositioned. She looks at Leo. We need to flank. Too exposed. Then we suppress and advance, get them to shift focus. Leo grins despite the situation. Just like old times. Just like old times. They move as a unit, laying down covering fire while 2 Marines advance upslope. It's slow, brutal work. Every meter gained costs seconds, and seconds cost lives. Kara's rifle barks in steady rhythm, each shot placed with precision. She doesn't aim to kill unless necessary. Suppression is enough. Keep their heads down, disrupt their firing patterns, create openings. A Marine goes down, hit in the leg. Kara sprints to him, drags him back to cover. You're okay. Stay low. I can still fight. You're doing more by staying alive. Now shut up and let me work. She patches the wound quickly. Tourniquet, pressure bandage, morphine for the pain. Then she's back in the fight. The ridge is closer now. Hostile fire slackens as they run low on ammunition or nerve. Kara signals Leo. Push now! They surge forward, Marines following. The remaining hostiles break, scatter into the desert. Kara doesn't pursue. She keys the radio. FOB Sierra, this is Valkyrie. We've broken the ambush. What's your status? Still pinned. They're all around us. We can't move. We're coming to you. Hold tight. The convoy regroups, speeds toward the base. They arrive to find it surrounded. Hostile forces on 3 sides, the Marines inside trapped in a defensive perimeter. Kara assesses the situation in seconds. We need to draw them off, create a gap. How? Leo asks. Kara looks at Holloway, who's been silent this whole time, pale and shaking. You said Tower 4 is running this. You have a way to contact him? Holloway nods slowly. There's a frequency. Encrypted. Use it. Tell him you're here. Tell him you need extraction. That'll bring them straight to us. Exactly. Kara's smile is cold. And when they come, we'll be ready. Holloway makes the call. 5 minutes later, hostile forces begin shifting toward their position. It's working. The gap opens. Kara radios the Marines inside. FOB Sierra, you've got a window. Move now. Head west. We'll cover. The Marines inside don't hesitate. They break from cover, carrying wounded, moving fast. Hostile forces turn, try to intercept. Kara and Leo lay down withering fire, stopping them cold. The Marines make it to the convoy. Engines roar, vehicles roll, but they're not done yet. A massive explosion rocks the ridgeline. Kara looks up, sees smoke, hears the scream of incoming, mortar fire. She grabs the radio. "All units scatter, now!" The convoy splits, vehicles peeling off in different directions. Kara's truck takes a near miss, the blast flipping it onto its side. She's thrown clear, hits the ground hard, rolls. Her vision swims, ears ringing. She forces herself up, sees Leo pulling Marines from the wreckage, and Holloway stumbling in the open, disoriented. A hostile fighter appears on the ridge, rifle raised, aiming at Holloway. Kara doesn't think. She sprints, tackles Holloway, takes him down as bullets chew the sand where he was standing. They roll behind a boulder, breathing hard. Holloway stares at her, shocked. "Why?" he gasps. "Why did you—" "Because you're still useful." Kara pulls him to his feet. "And because leaving you to die makes me no better than you." She shoves her sidearm into his hands. "You know how to use that?" "Yeah." "Then use it. Help us hold this position until backup arrives." For the first time since this started, Holloway's eyes clear. He nods, checks the weapon, moves to cover. And when the next wave comes, he fights. Not well, not perfectly, but he fights. Alongside the Marines, alongside Leo, alongside Kara. They hold for 30 minutes, the longest 30 minutes of Kara's life. Rounds snap overhead, explosions shake the ground, smoke fills the air. She's hit twice, grazing shots, painful but not fatal. She keeps moving, keeps shooting, keeps her team alive, and then finally the sound of rotors. Helicopters incoming, gunships laying down fire. The hostiles break, retreat into the desert. The fight is over. Kara collapses against a rock, chest heaving. Leo drops beside her, bleeding from a dozen places but alive. Holloway sits nearby, staring at his hands. The Marines gather, count heads. Everyone's accounted for, wounded but alive. This is just the beginning. Share this story and come back for the next episode, because the mission isn't over. The medevac takes them back to base. Kara spends 2 days in the hospital, getting stitched and scanned and cleared for duty. Hayes visits on the 3rd day, bringing news. Holloway's cooperating fully. We've identified 3 members of Tower 4's network. All of them are in custody. Hayes sits in the chair beside her bed. The intel you recovered. It's big, bigger than we thought. This goes all the way up to defense contractors, private military firms, even some government officials. How far up? Far enough to make people nervous. But we're moving forward. Investigations, prosecutions, the works. Hayes leans back. You did good, Lieutenant. I did my job. You did more than that. You saved 12 lives, exposed a major security threat, and you did it all without an official commission. Hayes pulls out a folder. That's why I'm offering you one. Kara looks at the folder. What is it? A contract. Advisory position with JSOC. Consultant on black operations, intelligence analysis, threat assessment. It's not active duty, but it's close. He slides it across. You'd be back in the game, officially. She doesn't touch it. I'll think about it. Take your time, but not too much. We need people like you. Hayes leaves. Kara sits alone, staring at the folder. Part of her wants to say yes, to step back into the world she left behind. But another part remembers why she left. The cost, the sacrifices, the ghosts that never stop following. A week later, she's cleared for release. Leo drives her to the memorial wall on base, a long stretch of marble engraved with names. Fallen Marines, soldiers who gave everything. She stands in front of it, silent. Her fingers trace one name near the bottom. For a moment, she's not in Okinawa. She's back in Damascus, October 2018. Sand in her teeth, blood on her hands, the weight of a wounded teammate across her shoulders. The bioweapon lab burning behind her, smoke blacking out the stars. A radio call crackling through static. Valkyrie, you're declared KIA, extraction denied. She'd looked down at the challenge coin in her palm, covered in dust and someone else's blood, and made the choice. Death on paper meant life in the shadows. It meant her team could scatter, disappear, survive. The memory fades, but the weight remains. Holloway finds her there. He's in civilian clothes now, no rank, no authority. Just a man who made mistakes and is trying to figure out how to live with them. They told me you were leaving. I am. Where will you go? Somewhere quiet, at least for a while. Kara glances at him. What about you? Dishonorable discharge, possible prison time, depending on how the investigation goes. Holloway's voice is hollow. But Hayes says if I keep cooperating, they might reduce the charges. Maybe I'll walk away with my life, if not my career. That's more than you deserve. I know. He steps closer to the wall, reads the names. For what it's worth, I'm sorry, for everything. The way I treated you, the way I put people at risk, all of it. Kara doesn't respond right away, then quietly. Sorry doesn't fix it, but maybe doing better will. Holloway nods. I read the file. The full one. 41 people you pulled out of Damascus, including... He stops. Including a SEAL team that was trapped behind enemy lines. Tower 4 sent that team into a trap, Kara says. They knew it was compromised, and they sent them anyway. For money. Her jaw tightens. I couldn't let them die. You almost died yourself. Almost doesn't count. They stand in silence for a moment. Then Holloway extends a hand. Thank you for saving me out there. I didn't deserve it. Kara looks at his hand, then shakes it once. Then stop laughing at people who carry scars. She walks away, leaving him at the wall. Leo's waiting by the truck. You ready? Yeah. They drive off base into the world beyond. Kara watches the buildings shrink in the rearview mirror, feeling something loosen in her chest. For the first time in years, she's not running, not hiding, just moving forward. Her phone buzzes. An email from an unknown sender. No subject line. She opens it. File incomplete. Tower 4 sends regards. Below the message, an attachment. Kara opens it. A grainy photograph taken from a distance. Coordinates stamped in the corner. Syria. The same sector where they fought. But the timestamp is from yesterday. And in the photo, standing in the ruins of a building Kara knows all too well, is a figure, masked, armed, watching the camera. The same building where she'd made that call 6 years ago, where she'd chosen death over dishonor, where Valkyrie had been born and buried in the same breath. Her blood runs cold. She shows Leo. He curses under his breath. It's not over. No, Kara agrees, it's not. But when she looks back at the road ahead, she's not afraid because now she knows. The fight continues, the mission evolves, and she's not alone anymore. At the memorial wall, Holloway stands in front of one name in particular, a Marine who died 3 years ago in an operation that was never officially acknowledged, the kind of death that gets buried in paperwork and classified reports. He reaches out, touches the engraved letters. I'm sorry, he whispers. I'm so sorry. Behind him, Colonel Hayes approaches. You knew him? He was my cousin. He was part of the team Valkyrie extracted in Damascus. Holloway's voice cracks. I spent years hating her for what happened, blaming her for his death, but he didn't die that day. He lived because of her. Hayes nods slowly. And now? Now I understand. Strength isn't noise. It's discipline when no one is clapping. Holloway looks at the colonel. She taught me that, the hard way. Then don't waste the lesson. Hayes walks away. Holloway stays at the wall, hand pressed against cold marble, making a promise to do better, to be better, even if it takes the rest of his life. Miles away, in a quiet apartment overlooking the ocean, Kara opens the folder Hayes gave her. The contract sits there, official and waiting. She picks up a pen, hesitates, then sets it down. Not yet, maybe not ever. But she keeps the photo, the one from Syria, the masked figure, Tower 4. And on the back of it, she writes a single line in neat handwriting. Her call sign was Dark Valkyrie, the shadow they mocked, the savior they never saw coming. She tacks it to the wall, next to a map of the Middle East. Red strings connect locations, names, dates. A new mission taking shape. The photograph from Tower 4 sits at the center, surrounded by breadcrumbs she's been gathering for 6 years. Every breadcrumb leading back to that night in Damascus when everything changed. Because justice isn't loud, it's patient, and it never stops hunting. Outside, the sun sets over the Pacific. Waves crash against rocks. Somewhere in the world, people are fighting battles no one will ever hear about. And in the silence between gunfire and peace, a Valkyrie watches, waits. And when the time comes, she'll fly again. The screen fades to black. But in the darkness, a promise lingers. This isn't an ending, it's an invitation to the next chapter, the next fight, the next truth waiting to be uncovered, because some stories don't end, they just pause, gathering strength, preparing for what comes next. And when Dark Valkyrie rises again, the world will remember. Underestimate the quiet ones at your own peril.
Every soldier carries a story that few ever hear. Listen with your heart. Thank you for staying and watching. Subscribe to MVB Story for more.